Hey everybody, Mackenzie Holland with the Wilmington Star News here. Today I'm at the National Weather Service Wilmington office where I'm going to be talking with meteorologist Tim Armstrong about some winter weather that we're going to be having tomorrow. For those of you like me who are excited, there's going to be anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, maybe more, of snow that's starting, morning, afternoon tomorrow, going till the end of the day. There could also be some freezing rain, some sleet. So we're going to talk with Tim a little bit more about what we can expect tomorrow. We're going to wait for just a few more seconds, see if we can get some more viewers here. But like I said, I'm here at the National Weather Service Wilmington office to talk with meteorologist Tim Armstrong about what people can expect tomorrow. The weather is going to possibly create some treacherous driving conditions. So the North Carolina Department of Transportation has been out. They were out yesterday, and they've been out today putting brine on the roads, which is a salt and water mixture that's going to help prevent the accumulation of snow and ice on the roads to try to make it a little safer for drivers going around tomorrow, for people who have to, go out and go to work and do things tomorrow. Brunswick County Schools has actually already announced that they're going to be closed tomorrow. So kids in Brunswick County, don't worry about going to school tomorrow because they're going to be closed. So again, we're here with meteorologist Tim Armstrong at the National Weather Service Wilmington office to talk about the winter weather that's coming tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and switch it over to Tim and see what he has to tell us about what we can expect tomorrow in the Cape Fear region. All right, this is Mr. Tim Armstrong with the National Weather Service in Wilmington.
Okay, well, thanks. We just upgraded to a winter storm warning for all of the Cape Fear area of southeastern North Carolina. That means we are expecting a pretty high likelihood that we're going to have sleet, freezing rain, and snow tomorrow that's going to create hazardous conditions. In terms of accumulations, we're expecting around 3 inches storm total here in Wilmington. Totals anywhere from 2 to 4 inches across all of the eastern Carolinas, from Georgetown and Myrtle Beach all the way up into interior eastern North Carolina. There could even be some heavier spots in there, maybe 6 inches or so once you get up toward the New Bern areas and up toward Little Washington, far eastern North Carolina there. In terms of when we expect this in Wilmington, we're thinking around noon to early afternoon we'll see an onset of freezing rain and sleet, and that'll continue through the mid and late afternoons, increasing in intensity toward sunset. Once the sun goes down, though, we'll get some colder air building in from the west, and by that point it should change over to snow, and we may have a few hours of pretty moderate to even heavy snowfall during the mid to late evening hours before the precipitation ends overnight, and that's when we'll get the bulk of that accumulation there. When you wake up in the morning, there'll probably be just cloudy skies. Don't anticipate really any problems at all until early to mid-afternoon when that precipitation begins to fall there. And one interesting thing about this situation compared to almost every other snowfall event in southeastern North Carolina, our soil is very, very cold right now. If you think about the March 12th snow we had last year, the 1-inch snow event in Wilmington, it laid mainly on your rooftops, on your cars, the grass, but the roads stayed just wet. That's because we had soil temperatures in the 50s then. It melted a lot of that snow. Well, in this case, we've had Arctic air in here for 3 days, and so the soil is very close to freezing right now. So I anticipate as soon as we get our first sleet pellets or a little bit of freezing rain, it's going to become a real treacherous nightmare out there, especially on the untreated roads that haven't been treated with that brine mixture you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I heard that temperatures haven't gone, there's been a high of 40 degrees for the past few days at least. So
right.
Is that to account for the cold soil temperature?
Absolutely. Our high so far today here in Wilmington's only been 35. Our average this time of the year is about 56. So you can see we're running 20 degrees below normal there.
Sure.
We've been in the teens the last couple of nights. We're expecting more teens coming up later this week. So it's going to, all in all, be one of the coldest stretches in Wilmington's history. You have to go back to, I think, the year 1918 before you see something really similar to this in the climate record in terms of the length of extreme cold weather.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as far as this weather event tomorrow, you don't think people will see anything probably until about tomorrow afternoon, and that would start out probably as freezing rain?
That's correct, yes. Okay. As cold as it's been here, the winds shift on shore between 2,000 and 3,000 feet off the ground. That's going to bring a little bit of warm air back in, so as the snowflakes initially fall, they're going to melt in that layer of warm air aloft. Then they'll refreeze into sleet pellets or just as freezing rain when they hit the cold surface. But then once we get into tomorrow night, that warm air aloft would move back offshore again, and the snowflakes will come all the way down to the surface, and that's when we'll see the bulk of the accumulations is after dark tomorrow night.
Okay, so basically people are going to wake up to a bunch of snow, or possibly Thursday morning.
Thursday morning, yes. And with very, very cold temperatures expected Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, this snow's not going to go anywhere. We're used to snow happening, once a year or so here, and it melts usually the same day or the next day.
Exactly.
This is going to hang around for days. You're going to see this in the shadows, piled up in parking lots and whatnot for several days. In fact, we're really not expecting temperatures to return anywhere close to normal until maybe early next week.
Wow. Okay. So, as far as people getting out and traveling in these cold temperatures and what's the weather, that's going to be expected tomorrow, how can people be safe by getting around in this kind of weather, that we're going to be experiencing tomorrow?
Right. If you live off a secondary road, if you're not going to be traveling on those very, the treated, sort of coddled roads, so to speak, stay off the roads when possible. The road temperatures are so cold that unless there's active management being done, it's probably going to become very hazardous by the middle afternoon hours tomorrow, and certainly by tomorrow night once we get all that snow falling. I would not want to be out there unless you really have to be. You'll have plenty of time tonight and in the morning to get any kind of last-minute shopping done in terms of getting some groceries at home to sort of get you through the next few days.
Sure. Well, we have some questions from some viewers here as far as, do you know what people in Sampson and Duplin County can expect, or are you focused mainly right here on Pender, New Hanover, Brunswick County?
We do focus on the coastal part of the Carolinas, but I can show you, because we can collaborate here with our colleagues up at the weather forecast offices in Raleigh and Morehead City. For Sampson County, that's this area right here, they're calling for 2 to 3 inches of snow, the heaviest accumulations in the southern part of the county. So if your relatives live south of, say, Clinton, that would be where the heaviest snow would fall. Duplin County, it could be a good solid 4-inch snowfall event up there, and as you move farther north up the coast toward New Bern, possibly that 4 to 6 inches up that direction there.
Okay. Well, as far as maritime conditions, are you all watching, what's going on as far as the waters, the ocean, intercoastal waterway?
Yes.
So what's going on there? Should boaters avoid going out, or is there going to be any effects that we need to worry about down there?
Right. Conditions were pretty bad the last couple of days. They're going to, with a cold Arctic air streaming in, it's going to be a little lull tonight and in the morning, but then by tomorrow afternoon, the low pressure system that's bringing all this snow is really going to crank up hard off the Georgia and South Carolina coast. So we're expecting conditions to go downhill in a hurry out there on the coastal waters. Winds going to 25 knots or higher. Small craft advisories will be issued again for tomorrow into tomorrow night. It's even possible if you're heading more than 10 or 15 miles offshore, you could get into some gale force conditions tomorrow night. So I would not venture out there unless you really have a large vessel and you're experienced in conditions like that.
Yeah. So can we expect any sort of high winds or anything that's going to come along with this freezing rain and snow in the area? Or?
Probably not so much. It looks like the strongest winds stay well offshore with this one here. So we're expecting winds, 10 to 20 miles an hour tomorrow, but not enough to cause any damage in and of themselves. Okay, great. So just to recap then, we're here in the region. We might start seeing some freezing rain, sleet around afternoon tomorrow. That's correct.
And then most of the accumulation will occur Wednesday night.
Yes.
So Thursday morning is when people might wake up to see more snow than they would maybe Wednesday.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Awesome. And so then, just to recap, how many inches could people possibly see Thursday morning?
Yeah, we're expecting an average of around 3 inches across southeastern North Carolina. That would include from Southport to Wilmington to Burgaw, all the cities here in southeastern North Carolina. And as you head north up into far eastern North Carolina, the New Bern area, for example, the accumulations could be a couple inches higher up in that direction.
Great. And what's the high supposed to be tomorrow?
High tomorrow, maybe 34, 35 degrees. That would occur in the late morning. And then when the precipitation starts, temperatures should drop back down below freezing.
Okay. And you had mentioned that, it's going to stay cold for,
several days.
Several days. So, I know maybe looking out into the future is kind of hard, weather-wise, because you never know with the weather. But can we expect these temperatures to continue into next week, or are we starting to see a change in temperature next week?
We're expecting a little warm up for early part of next week, but then the long-range models, which of course it becomes very uncertain what's going to happen, show perhaps a return to cold conditions again by the middle to end of next week. We'll have to see how that plays out here. The models have not historically done a good job past about 7 or 8 days in the future, but indications are that it's not going to warm up for any sustained fashion anytime soon.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's about it here at the National Weather Service Wilmington office. I just spoke with Tim Armstrong, meteorologist here, about what we can expect weather-wise. So for now, it sounds like bundle up and get prepared for some freezing rain tomorrow and then some snow accumulation tomorrow night. So thank you all again for watching.